What if I told you professional designers use 3 hacks to choose the perfect color scheme for every room they work on? And you can too. Why does color even matter? In a room, color can create a mood. Soft blues can make the room feel relaxing, and vibrant yellows can make the room feel energetic. They can also communicate your personality. Your color choices tell a little bit about who you are and how you want your space to feel, and that's why almost nobody can do that as well as you can do it for yourself. Color can also be used as a way to control how we feel in a space. Does it feel relaxing? Color can also be a way to guide people's attention. You can use a lot of really dark colors to make a space feel warm and cozy, or you can use a lot of bright colors to make a space feel really big and airy. You can also use it as a way to divert attention. You can use it as a way to bring a wall that is really far away up closer. And you can use it to highlight architectural features that you really like. So a thoughtfully chosen color palette doesn't just look good. It really creates an environment that feels intentional, harmonious, and really personal. The 3 inspiration sources that designers use to set color palettes are fabrics, a rug, and a piece of art. And it's really easy to choose just one of these to kind of drive the whole palette of a room. Let's look at some examples. Here's some rooms where the rug is really being used to set the color palette. And the designer didn't really have to choose the colors. They choose the rug and pull all the colors from the rug. The same can be said of fabric. If you have fabric in draperies, or you have a piece of upholstery, or pillows or lampshades that are specific fabric, the people who design the fabric chose the color palette, and they look at color theory every single day as they're developing the line of fabrics. And the last is a piece of artwork. And sometimes this is a little bit more subtle, but if you have a piece of artwork that you really love because of the colors in it, you can use the colors in that piece of art to draw those colors out and use them around your room. Now that you've got some idea how the experts choose a color palette for a room, let's talk about how they use the colors in the room. This is when we use something called the 60-30-10 principle. And no, those numbers don't have to be exact, but it's all about proportion. So you want to have, instead of 2 equal use of colors, you really want to have one color that's the dominant color in the room. It might be the wall color. It's basically taking up about 60% of what your eye sees is that color. And sometimes it can be cream. Then you want to have a color that is about 30% of the color in the room. That might be your draperies or your couch or some accent pillows. And then 10% is an accent color. And that a lot of times can be something that is complementary, meaning it's opposite on the color wheel, or it's black, but it's used minimally in the room, but intentionally, and always in more than one place, each of these colors. So now let's talk about some common color questions that I've gotten. First is, does lighting affect your color scheme? And yes, it definitely does. If you're working on a room that has a lot of natural light, that means you can use a much different palette than you would if you're working on a room that has very minimal natural light. Because if you take a room that has almost no windows or no natural light and put a really dark color scheme into it, it's going to look a lot different than it does if you put it into a room with lots of big windows. So you want to factor both the natural lighting and the lighting that you add to the room into your color palette. Because if you're picking a really dark color palette, you really need to up the artificial lighting, meaning not the natural lighting, to give the room more mood. Can you incorporate trending colors? If you have a color scheme, yes, you can. And one of the really great ways to incorporate a color that's trending is to use it as that 10%. That way it gives you a really good opportunity to kind of test it out on a small piece of upholstery or a throw rug or some throw pillows. So you don't have to make the whole room about the trending color, but you can kind of pick some small pieces that are easy to sell off when you don't like that color anymore. Does every room need to have a color scheme? In my opinion, yes, it does. Because it's what gives your space, even a bathroom, intention. And a bathroom can have a color palette. One easy way to get a color palette in a bathroom is a little rug or a small piece of art. So I think it really makes every space feel more intentional if it has a color palette. Does every room have to have the same color palette? No, it doesn't. In fact, I think that kind of makes your home feel more flat. So I like to vary the color palette a little bit and have some overlap from room to room, but not exactly the same palette. So you might pull through one color, the 30% color, from one room to the next and change up the two other colors. That's what I like to do to keep the rooms different, but still cohesive. Does the color scheme need to include the floor? Yes, it does. Many color schemes are more than just 3 colors. They're 4, 5, and 6. But your floor and anything fixed in the room, let's say you have a brick fireplace, needs to be part of your color palette, because if you don't consider it, sometimes it can clash. So you definitely want to factor in the fixed elements into your color scheme. I'll just give you for example. Let's say you have gray floors. You're probably not going to want to use a color scheme that has yellow in it, because the gray of the floors and the yellow might not be the best combination. So in that case, if you really loved yellow, you'd want to lean towards something a lot more subtle looking. So you should factor in your flooring. So color isn't just about making a room look good. It's about creating a space that feels like home to you. But now that you have the designer's toolkit, you can choose your colors and feel confident about it. So here's the challenge. Choose one room in your house, decide what the inspiration is going to be, your favorite fabric, a piece of art, or a rug, which is my favorite way to do it. Pull those colors out and use them all around the room. And let me know if this works for you in the comments.